Hey, this is Ransom1690 back here with another video. So I'm just getting away from the house for a little while. Beautiful weather actually, eh? I don't know, like I told y'all before, like I don't know what it is about gray skies or rainy days now, but that makes me feel more at peace or relaxed. But I guess I've been infected with the doomer mentality, eh? But I'm gonna talk about just a lot more lighter things this time. Just really trying to get inspired and to share some of that with y'all. Even if y'all ain't into the same things, maybe it may give y'all some ideas for what can possibly inspire y'all. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just gonna talk about just some inspirations, things I've been trying to get into, stories I've been trying to read. And y'all know I talk about being an artist quality. But there is a lot of stuff that comes with that really inspires me. Of course, looking at artwork, seeing new art, just stuff like that. So I posted a little bit of that on the community feed last night. And up till this point, it's mainly just been anime related stuff. But with some exceptions, I'm into like just a lot of other types of art, or just mainly fantasy art, or stuff like that. And so I do like to practice real anatomy and things like that, because I do admire works like Anna Stokes or what's his name, James Jean, and all of that, because they can distort the figure, they can really stylize things when they're drawing, but they also know how to do like real stuff too, and kind of incorporate that into like the fantasy element. And I know this artist who I used to watch on YouTube. I haven't watched her in a while, but her channel is Happy D Artist. Like, she used to mostly do primarily these porcelain styled characters, but then she went to art school and she started learning how to incorporate more realistic anatomy into her stuff, and it's just made her work skyrocket in quality. It's amazing. And I think around the time she started doing that, like, it was only like 6 months she was going through this training, and her quality just skyrocketed. And so, yeah, even though I don't like real people, for the most part, but I do like the art of training and using what I learned to incorporate it into a more fanciful element. And so, yeah. And it's a lot of artists who can do that with anime as well. And it's this artist who I was looking at last night. I don't remember his name, because those Japanese names are just real complicated to remember. But I think it's the artist who did Akira, which I'm thinking about watching now that I've looked this stuff up. Akira seems pretty lit. I want to watch that shit. But it's like I was looking at some of his artwork, and it's this semi-realistic style, but it still has the stylized element, but it's like also really detailed, crazy perspective, and it's very, like, I don't know how to say it. It's like just packed with a lot of detail. Like, it kind of reminds me of Kim Jong-gi, you know, in a way. So that's the best idea I can give. It reminds me a lot of how Kim Jong-gi draws, but it's still stylized. And you know, just I've been trying to just branch out into some new artists other than the ones that I already like, because, you know, I done kind of already told y'all about the ones that I like. But it's nice to just discover new styles or how people incorporate their knowledge into these ideas, and to just get inspiration from that. And so, besides that, y'all know I'm also a big manga reader. So that's actually kind of funny, because reading manga to me is like, to one of my bros who plays Dark Souls, it's like when he'll start a profile and then he'll play it all fucking night, but then, you know, because work gets in the way and shit, he won't have time to play, and so he'll just kind of forget about it, and when he comes back to it, he's like, oh shit, where did I leave off at? And, you know, the ideas, the experience from the game isn't fresh in his head anymore, so it's like he'll keep starting it over from scratch. And that's kind of like with me and manga. It's like I'll pick up a manga and I'll get really invested into it and read it through, but then I'll take a break and not come back to it for a while. And then when I do come back to it, it's like, you know what? I really want to refresh my brain on how all this stuff went down, so I'll start over from scratch. Like, I think at this point I've read Soul Eater through at least like 4 times already. And I think this other manga I've been reading, The Promised Neverland, I'm on my second read through of it. And, you know, I'm thinking about picking up Berserk, but it ain't finished yet. And, you know, I kind of want to get into stuff that's finished, because then, you know, it just goes real smoother that way when you know you can actually conclude it. And me personally, I'm someone, like, if I start it, I want to finish what I start. You know, I don't want to be having to wait monthly or weekly weekly's fine, but I mean, some of these mangakas, they be taking these long ass Hatsus and shit, like the creator of Hunter x Hunter. Like, I remember watching that shit a long time ago, and it's like, up to a certain point, he just took a fucking Hatsu and never came back off of it. And it's like, I think that series have been going on even before I was born. I don't fucking know. But it still has yet to fucking conclude. And the story isn't even close to concluding. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah. And it's just going on fucking Hatsus. And then when he releases, it's either maybe once every so many months. And it's ridiculous. So I fucking dropped the series. I don't care about it anymore, because it's like, man, he ain't gonna ever finish this series. Like, he might as well just retire, you know, because they say he was having back problems and all of that shit, which I do understand. But then it's a whole lot of talk where it's like, okay, he don't want to hire for help and all of that. So it's like, hey, it is what it is. You know, it's a lot more stories out there to be written. So to further feed my interest in the fantasy, you know, I have picked up this manga called Witch Hat Atelier, which, I mean, I really love it. Like, the art style is just top notch. It really reminds you of just these illustrations out of kind of like them old storybooks. You know, that's what it reminds me of. Like, just these light illustrations out of the story, like these fantasy kid storybooks, but it's like the story's real good. Oh, hold up. The art is real good, like it's really unique, and the story's real good as well. And you know, and just so I'm not rambling about it, I'm just gonna say it's better just to pick it up and read it for yourself rather than just hear me talk about it. You know, because here I'm just expressing just some of what has inspired me up to this point, and that's really a big one. Now, the only problem with that is I think that's one of those mangas where the author, she takes her time, which is good. That's what you're supposed to do. So I think she's one of those monthly or bi-monthly releasers. Like, you know, I think she only releases chapters like monthly, I think. But I know, like, I read up till chapter 81, and that was fucking 3 months ago, and she just now updated to chapter 82. So I'm like, yeah, you know, maybe I'll just wait for this to finish before I just go back in. Because, like, again, like, once I start something, I want to see it all the way through. Like, I don't want to be having to take breaks and then try to come back and pick up in the middle of a story and all of that. But, I mean, so far, I really like it, you know. And it's also really interesting, too, because, you know, unlike a lot more fantasy-themed stories, like, you know, Harry Potter and stuff, where it's like, okay, they have, in order to cast magic, they gotta use wands and shit. Well, in Witch Hat Atelier, they have to draw it out with a pen and ink. So it's like whatever spell they want to cast, they gotta draw that shit out. And it's like it really gets into a whole lot of stuff that artists deal with. Like, you know, if you draw the symbol too big, then the spell's gonna come out wrong, or it's gonna be defect. If you draw it too small, it won't be as effective. And it gets into a lot of stuff like inspiration, knowing your client, just a lot of art type related stuff. So it's like, yeah, I'm into it for that reason as well. But yeah, I'm gonna wait till the mangaka finishes the story, and then I'm gonna start over from chapter 1 and read it all the way through. You know, that's just how I do it. You know, I've started really just liking to take my time to enjoy these stories and the illustrations. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about for me, just finding something here to enjoy to mitigate the suffering and boredom of this life. You know, but I remember, like, it's this other manga I gotta go back to that's actually based on a video game, and I think these are what I started out with before I really just dove into manga. And you know, I was a big gamer nerd back then. So it's like I would pick up these Nintendo mangas like The Legend of Zelda and shit, which some of them is hit or miss. You know, a lot of them tend to rush through the story. For the most part, the quality is of the art, they are good. But just as far as how well it incorporates the story of the games into a manga format, a lot of them, especially the Zelda ones, like they tend to just rush stuff. Like the one from Ocarina of Time, I really didn't fucking like that, or how they told it and shit. And I know my Zelda Majora's Mask, gonna go through here so I don't gotta listen to this fucking barking and shit. But yeah, the Zelda Majora's Mask, I know that's one of my all-time favorites for just the lore and the side quests and all of that. But it's like in the manga, they just rush the whole thing, and it's like, But I think there is this one manga based off of the game that was made, and I'll say that it's even better than the game, which is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. You know, they really outdid themselves on that manga. It's like, because, you know, Link in the games, he doesn't talk. So, but it's like in the manga, they give him a voice, they give him a personality, and it's like, it really feels like you're reading a solid story. It's like he has internal struggles, just things that he's dealing with, and like it's not just about, save Princess Zelda and beat Ganon. It's actually a lot of character growth that they get into with him and with the people he encounters, and just for that one, like, just 100%, that's one of my favorites. Probably up there with Soul Leader and Witch Hat Atelier. Just, they really outdid themselves on that one, in both the story and the art. And it's like, I can't even go back to the game anymore, because they just, now I consider the manga version to be the canon, like, you know. But that's about the only one that I'll still go back to, you know. But it ain't just like manga stuff that I like to read. It's other stuff that I've been wanting to get into too. Like, you know, it's this one comic that I have been wanting to read, and I kind of got issue 1 of it and read it like a year or 2 back, but just never got the rest of it. But it's like this, oh, shut the fuck up, these damn dogs and shit. But it's like this comic called Fables. And so it's real interesting because the artist James Keaton actually did the covers for those comics. But it's like, what it is it's like, you know how you learn about in just the regular fables, like Little Red Riding Hood or fucking the Big Bad Wolf or shit like that, or, you know, Snow White and all of them shit. Well, I don't know if Snow White's included in that, that's more Disney. But it's like, it's all that in the comic, but it's all like more realistic and maturing type shit. And so what happens is that they have to all flee from their, I guess, fantasy hometown, because it all got invaded by this thing called the Adversary. So now they all living like underground in New York City and trying to keep a low profile and all of that type shit. And it's like just a lot of stuff, and like I have been wanting to get more into it, but I don't know. I should just go. I should pick up more of the issues since I'm talking about it, because that's been a big one that I've been wanting to get into. And another one. Hold on, let me try to cross real quick and not get ran over. Another one that I have been wanting to get into is this comic called Sky Doll, which is another interesting one because Sky Doll, you know, it's about, I haven't really gotten far into the story, and it's unfortunately one of those things that the artist, like, he didn't fucking finish the comic, so I'm just kind of debating if I really want to get into it now. But it's like this whole thing with this whole religion and this government trying to rip off the people or some shit. I don't know if I'm describing the story right, but like, it gets into themes of religion, miracles, and all of that shit, and how, you know, the higher ups is using that as kind of just to swindle people. I don't fucking know, because I really didn't get the book in chronological order, and it's like, it's hard to find online and shit. You know, you try to find it online, and it's like these fucking scalp prices, or just or like you can't find the fucking issue you want. So it's like, I don't know, comics is just a whole different ball game than manga. And so it's like, I've been talking to my brother, he asked me, hey, why don't you get into like more graphic novels? And I'm like, I don't fucking know how to. Like, it's in my opinion, graphic novels and comics and all of that shit is not as accessible or as easy to find as manga is. So I mean, I have been kind of trying to stick to manga for a while, but it's like, if I do get into comics, more than likely I'm gonna go to Fables, because that's easier to find and shit. And so yeah, just, that's some of what inspires me. So this is kind of just a lighter video of just me talking about this, and just hopefully y'all enjoy, even if y'all not into this type of stuff. You know, we all gotta do something to just cope with the realities of this life, and this is how I cope with it, you know. And so, yeah, just taking a little bit of walk, enjoying the quiet. That's another good thing about nighttime, is you don't gotta fucking deal with all the noise or people or just bad traffic. Because, man, people out here don't fucking care. Like, you know, it was one time when I was walking home, and like, I clearly had the fucking walk sign. I had the right of way to cross the road, and the cars still tried to fucking, like, you know, take the right of way. They still tried to pass. Like, I damn near got ran the fuck over. So it's like, people just don't fucking care. And like, you know, it's a fucking joke out here. Like, for real, people are scumbags. Well, I'm not gonna say that. Like, you know, I'm still trying to be fair. Like, not all, I don't fucking know anymore, y'all. But yeah. But just so I don't gotta focus on shit like that, I just read manga or do art or some shit, you know. But that's all you can do, is just cope. So I don't know, you know, maybe y'all can tell me what some of y'all copes are, and I'll get back to y'all with another one real soon.